midterm conference because it is a part of a project, and we would like also, among other presentations, present findings and results that we have. Children, pre-adolescents as we call them, those of age 11 to 13, and social media. And we would like to talk about everything that our children can stumble upon when acting online. This age group is a critical age group because it is the moment where when our children enter the world of social media. It is the time is a little bit before the legal age when they can enter this world, but we know they do. So it's very important to start addressing them already and make them aware of everything that may happen. I do welcome again all participants from our country and all participants from entire European Union where this stream is being broadcasted. Program of today's event. It was put together to show all of you the most recent results available in Europe about the topic we are going to address. Some of these presenters of today's contributions will be project partners. You will see them in session 1, which will be held now from 9 o'clock until approximately 10:45. In your emails, this is going to the online participants, in your emails you received 3 different links to 3 different sessions because to enable you effective management of your time. So you can get connected through these links leading to 3 sessions according to the schedule. So now from 9 o'clock until 10:45 is the presentation of the project partners about the topics we have, about the outputs that we have achieved by now. Then in session 2, that will start around at 11 o'clock and will last until 12:30, we will welcome here 3 external experts from research centers in the Czech Republic, and after that we will have a short lunch break so everyone can have lunch, even online participants, and then the third session will start at 1:30 in the afternoon, and we will listen to the last external expert speeches prepared for you. In the stream description, you can see the current agenda and current order of all presentations, so you can adjust your participants accordingly. So, and this is the time when we should invite our first speakers, who are Patrizia Giordano and Stefano Sanna from Fondazione Politecnico di Milano from Italy. And then they will open this working session and introduce our project and things related to it. Sit here. You can also stand behind, the presenter should sit in front of the camera, and then another one can sit or stand nearby.
So it's a great honor to be here in Bohemia and České Budějovice and be back with all of you and with the people that we don't know, but I mean we feel they are with us. My name is Patrizia Giordano, and I'm from Fondazione Politecnico di Milano, who's the coordinator of the project, but actually we conceived the project. And my role now is to introduce the beginning, how all that began. Because we are in the middle way, as Lucy told us, and this is the midterm conference. It means that it's 1.5 years that we are working together on this project on social media and pre-adolescents, but it is very important to, as usual, to go back to the beginning, to how everything started. You know, projects are like kids somehow, like children, because before they came to light, there is a preparation. So they are conceived. And in this case, the conception of the project was a very long one, because we started in 2019, which is, you know, it's a kind of historical year for all of us, because it was just before the pandemic. That was kind of big divide in our history. In 2019, end of 2019, my daughter, my second daughter, was in middle school. She was in the 7th grade. And something happened in her school. Something linked to the misuse of social media. Because a kid opened an Instagram page related to the school. And many students took part in this page, were active in this page. And at a certain moment, there was a comment, a bad comment on a teacher. A kind of tragedy started from that event. And I was observing the way, and I was very surprised about the way in which the school reacted to this event. It was a way I didn't expect. And so that became, for me, a moment in which I reflected on what was going on. Everything was new, because, you know, teachers were not used to deal with this kind of problems. They still are not used to do it. But the reaction was very judgmental, and there was no real effort to understand what was going on, why it happened, and how it happened. And there was a kind of climate of trial, really tragedy and trial, and the students were punished. They were judged and punished, and they were not heard. You know, there was no possibility for them to have their voices to be heard. And another aspect that was really striking me was that they were blamed because the school provided a course on bullying and cyberbullying, and that was not enough. The school was surprised about this. You know, so I found there was something to understand on that topic, especially on the way in which adults, schools, families were reacting towards that. And that was the beginning. That was the beginning of this project. And then what we felt was that it was not an individual problem. It was not just a problem of some kids, of some families, of some schools. It was a community problem. And there was a need to do something together. And also as an international community. That's why we are here. So we found friends, partners for this endeavor that we are trying to do. And we understood that this collective issue is related to a complex phenomenon. Social media, the use of devices are a complex phenomenon, and we need different points of view on that. We need different disciplines coming together. That's why this partnership is a partnership in which communication studies, media studies, psychology, economics and marketing studies, psychology, philosophy, which is also my background, are gathered together. So this is the idea of having a systemic approach, a transdisciplinary approach to the phenomenon of social media and pre-adolescence. We go probably to the title that you can see here. And we thought that knowledge is not enough. It's not a matter of just knowledge. It's not just about knowing things. It's also about being able to think. And this is the real protection that we can give to our kids and to ourselves. So the other thing, which is very important in this project, because it was at the very beginning, is to have the voices of all of us, but families, kids, and teachers, to be heard. And this led us to have a special group of activities we call VP2. This is very technical, but anyway, we'll go about that, which is the field research. And we are telling you about that today because in the field research, we went to kids, we went to parents, we went to teachers, and we asked them, we made interviews to them because we wanted them to explain their point of view on this topic. I believe that as an introduction, at least for me, is very complete. But I mean, we'll be here and we'll keep it together.
Okay, so good morning everyone, also from my side. I'm Stefano Sanna, also from the Fondazione Politecnico di Milano as Patrizia. And I'm a project designer and manager of this project. So she gave you sort of the background and the key concepts that are behind this idea. I'll go more into the boring part, the more technical part, because it's good to have a bit of a context. So this project is an Erasmus Plus funded project under the Cooperation Partnerships in School Education Call. Which started, as we were mentioning, already in September 22, so we are halfway through it and will last until August 2025. It's a 36-month project. Who we are? We are a consortium of 8 partners from 5 countries. I won't address them now because many of them will talk later, so they will present themselves. Maybe just a special mentions to of the School of Bresso in Milan, because they could not be here with us today on site, but I've seen them online, so they're joining online there. So I'm also saying hi to them. And I think it's also interesting to point out that we sort of represent different type of organizations and institutions that work around issues of education. So we have education providers, university, we are a university foundation, and we have one school in the partnership, plus we have 24 associated partners, meaning organizations that are not, let's say, involved as much as we are in the project. Technically, they're not receiving any grant, let's say, but at the application stage, we talked to them, we presented the project, we said this is what we're going to do, and they sort of made official their commitment to participate at some point, either in the focus groups, for example, you will hear in a few minutes about it, or in testing the activities. And within these 24, we have another 12 schools from the different countries. We have other NGOs, association, education providers. We have also Belgium represented with another big organization which deals with digital media literacy. This was sad. We should have changed the order of the slides. Not a big problem. Here, just to give you a bit of a context, let's say, of the framework and the activities that we have in this project, because you'll hear also about many of them in the following presentations. We have these transdisciplinary desk and field research that Patrizia was mentioning, which for us has been, and it is because we're completing the part of the field research, the foundation. To where do we start from to set what is the existing situation on these in particular, which and with this we will be producing some country reports in particular. This is just a hint of the results, it's not all of them because otherwise it would have been too much. And as I was mentioning, this is the foundation and it's informing our activity. One activity that this is informing is the educational program. So this box that you see in the middle, so that the very core of the activities, and within that will be our package set of activities. We're going to prepare a handbook for the 3 target groups of the project, so preadolescent school kids, parents, and teachers, with some educational activities, as well as emergency practices guidelines for school leaders, head teachers, to give some suggestions, advice to how they could maybe manage certain situations if they happen in the school. Linked to that, to the side, but just for the sake of graphic representation, not for importance, we have two pieces. One is another set of activities related to the piloting phase. And you see that the links, the arrows here between these two boxes are sort of exchanging because there is a feedback loop mechanism. Whatever we design and develop in the educational program, it's tested there and it gives us back information to readjust, rearrange ideas and activities. And the other box is related to the collaborative editorial board, which is a special set of activities, I think, and also a special opportunity that we have by having a school directly involved in the partnership. Because with this, it is now the third edition. You'll hear a bit more in a few minutes. It is a workshop that we're doing with school kids at Bresso, the school in Bresso in Milan. And it is to take students behind the digital media scenes as a sort of editorial board. And as they do that, we also, of course, are doing some educational interventions. And it's really a special place and a special opportunity we have to have that much amount of time, to work with the school kids to test the activities that could have not been possible if we were not going to have the school in the project. And the connections goes also between these two work packages, because really the editorial board is the first place, is sort of the inception place of the pilot from where we sort of test things out. Back to the box at the top, so another thing that this is informing is the work package 5, which is the training program for the educators. So the idea is for those teachers, educators, who could then use the educational material that we are designing and developing in school. In that case, we will have a training program, and we'll also have a round of pilots to train these educators, and this will happen last year. This work package is just starting now. And at the bottom is a sort of legacy work package. So what do we leave with all of these experience? And you see this is sort of, everything is converging here. And here we'll have some, the main outputs of these will be some recommendations for schools, teachers and parents, but also for policy maker and decision maker. So that's a bit of a context, just to navigate through the next presentation. Hope it's clear enough. So that concludes, let's say, this brief overview of the project. And Lucy, shall I introduce a next speaker, or you want to do that? As you like.
Should I do it now?
No. Yeah, as you like.
I will introduce them when they are here, I think.
No, I mean,
Our speakers.
our speakers.
Our speakers, you do it, please.
Okay. So then we can move to, we were mentioning the Destiny and Field Research, so we would like to present today some initial results that we are having from the field research that we're carrying out with school kids, parents and teachers in schools in the different countries. So I leave the floor to our colleagues, Marco, Lana, Patrizia, you guys are here, then will also introduce themselves much better than I could, so yes. Thank you very much.
So thank you very much, Patrizia and Stefano, for introducing the project in the background. Hello everyone, also from my side. Marko Divjak is my name. I come from Double Business School in Slovenia. And we as an institution, we are in charge for Work Package 2. So we are the Work Package leader. And in this session, together with my colleagues, we are going to share a few insights coming from the field research that is taking place at the moment. So we already have some results, but like I said, data collection is still in place. So these are really very fresh and the most actual results, so to put it. So first I'm going to provide you with a brief introduction on the field research. Then my colleague Lana will introduce the field research tools, and like I said, after that we're going to share some of the initial preliminary field research results. So I will start with the results from Slovenia, and then I will give the floor to Patrizia to share some of the most important findings from the Italian field research, and after that Lucy from Czech Republic is going to conclude this part. So what to say at the very start about the field research? So like already mentioned, it is part of the work package 2, which is a very important part for the project in general, because it's providing essential information and input for other work packages, especially for educational program and model design and development. So basically what we have done so far, we have completed the desk research part. So we have collected and gathered existing information on the topic, and what we have found out is that the studies focusing particularly on this period of pre-adolescence are quite rare and scarce. So we do not have enough data to actually accomplish our goals with that project. That's why field research is important. And what we want to achieve with it is actually to collect and analyze the data on the relationship among pre-adolescents, social media, and the school context in all 5 partner countries. So field research is taking place in all 5 partner countries. What we want to achieve with field research, so I have just collected and summarized the most important field objectives. So basically what we want to know is to actually to know more about the challenges of pre-adolescents related to the use of social media and internet in general. Also, we wanted to know more and to understand how pre-adolescents behave or would behave in case they encounter problems online. And also we wanted to investigate in detail what are the specific needs of the target groups related to addressing the issues and problems that kids may encounter online, so related to the use of social media. And to reach those goals, to achieve those objectives, we adopted both qualitative and quantitative research strategies and approaches. Lana is going to tell you more about this in a few minutes. And these are our target groups. So the main target groups, of course, are the pre-adolescents, so kids in the age of 11 to 13, and also their parents, teachers, so their teachers. We will also talk to the reference teachers, which is relevant for Italy only, and school leaders, of course, are also important for us. So this should be enough to start with. So I will now continue. I will now conclude this brief introduction and give floor to. Oh, one more thing. Yes. This is also important, and I wanted to share this with you, that before we went to the field, so before we started conducting our field research, we have, just a second, are there any problems? Can you see the slides?
No.
Yeah, on the screen you can see it.
Steam is also nothing.
I think so.
No.
Isn't it the connection? It's the connection? Maybe it should be.
Ne, počítač přemýšlám zdjęł.
So just the screensaver, or?
Excuse me, no, it shouldn't be a screensaver. I'm not sure what happened here. through it.
Yes. So apologies for this brief interruption. So before continuing to tell you more about the field research tools, just a few words about the research ethics approval, permission. It is very important to, for the research to be designed in accordance with the research ethics standards. That's why we obtained an approval from the Commission from the Committee of the Research Ethics at Double Business School, that the proposed research is in line with ethical guidelines and standards. That's very important for us, and we wanted you to know that before we move on explaining the field research tools. So Lana, please, you can proceed with that. Just a second. No?
Thank you. Good morning to all of you. My name is Lana Bozipesh. I'm coming from Croatia, from the Association for Communication Media Culture. It's the largest civil society organization in Croatia dealing with media literacy. And I will only shortly present you the field research tools we used as a part of this project. As Mark already mentioned to you, we use qualitative and quantitative methods. For instance, we use survey to analyze and to ask questions to children, parents and teachers, and we used validated scales, for instance the ones from the EU Kids online network. What did we ask pre-adolescents, parents and teachers in the survey? We wanted to know their internet usage habits and try to compare it, especially in the sense of the family, to see do children who live with parents who use quite often internet also use internet much more in comparison to children who lives in a family where internet is not used so often. We also wanted to find out their strategies, mediation strategies used in the families as well as in the schools, and to see the perspectives from children on these strategies used from their parents and teachers as well. We also, from the survey, wanted to find out did children had any negative experiences on the internet and how did they react and feel in these kind of situations. But we also wanted to see are parents and teachers familiar with these negative experiences of children and how did they reacted in this situation. And the final thing that we wanted to find out from the survey was to see what kind of sources parents and teachers use to inform themselves about children online safety. Okay, just a second. Okay. The second part of the research was a qualitative one. We used the method of focus group and in-depth interviews. We used focus groups for children, teachers and parents, and we conducted the focus groups in schools with all target groups. Although the questions for all three target groups were different, we used the same, let's call it, protocol for all of them, because for the beginning we started the focus group explaining them one scenario and asked all the target group how they react in case like this. For instance, we asked children to think of a situation where one child was excluded from a WhatsApp group where offensive messages about him are being spread. And then we asked children how will they react and handle this situation, what useful advices can they give to their child what to do in this situation. We also wanted to find out in focus groups what problems do children face in the online world, what do they talk to about it, do they talk to their parents and teachers about it, and what useful advices about online safety had they received from their parents and teachers. When we are talking about parents, it was important for us to find out how familiar are the parents with their children's activities on the internet. Do they know who the child will turn to for help in case of any problems? And it was very important for us to see, do they really listen to their children, and have they given him or her guidelines on how to use the internet safely? From the teacher perspective, we wanted to see what do they think on how teachers can improve trust and dialogue between kids and teachers in all countries. And we asked them to recommend us some resources or training opportunities for teachers to address online safety and behavior effectively. And we also conducted semi-structured interviews. Now I would like to present the one we did with school leaders, because in every partner country we discussed with school leaders about digital education policies and initiatives in schools, and we talked with them about specific measures and protocols they use in school to prevent and respond to online dissidents, and as well as we discussed about cyberbullying prevention strategies they have in schools. It was also very important for us to see how different partner countries and school leaders in these countries collaborate with parents, teachers and staff regarding all these issues I already mentioned. And that's all for now.
Thank you very much, Lana. I will now continue with presenting the most important results or key findings, preliminary key findings related to the field research that is currently taking place in Slovenia. As we have limited amount of time, I will only focus on the results related to the preadolescents, to the kids. So first I'm going to tell you which were the main themes or topics or the main messages that we've extracted from the focus group discussions that we have conducted with the kids. So there were 30 kids involved in 3 different discussions, and I will show you now what were the main findings, basically. So we found out that kids were well aware of the online risks, so they may encounter online, on social media and internet in general. But what is important for us, what they emphasized is the communication problems they encounter while talking with adults about their problems, issues. So they reported different coping strategies in case they encounter problems online. So some would say they would simply ignore the problem, while others would emphasize they would seek help from friends, parents, teachers, other adults. What is important is that they emphasized they would prefer talking about the problems and issues with their friends rather with their parents, because of the issue of trust. So they would say parents wouldn't understand what is going on online, what is happening to them, and they would probably often, I'm talking about parents, they would probably often exaggerate on issues. So a kid telling the parent something, so the parent would make a fuss, a big deal out of it, even though this may not be the case. So regarding their relationship with parents, they would say that their parents often don't fully understand, or they wouldn't fully grasp the online activities of the kids, and they would often, the parents, they would often interfere in their activities, in their lives, inappropriately. Let's say it like that. So they have also provided some advice, some suggestions for improving dialogue with parents and with adults in general, because this was one important segment of the focus group discussion scenario. And they want to have more openness, they want to establish more openness, more understanding and more trust in their relationship with adults, with parents in particular. So they would want to have, for the parents to be, let's say, less invading regarding their privacy. So their privacy seems to be very important for them, and they have a feeling that parents often do not respect their privacy. On the other side, they would like to establish a more open dialogue with adults, with parents in particular, about their online experiences, but in a safe environment. So without having a feeling of being judged. So they express the need to have a discussion, to have interactive conversations, to have a dialogue, but in a proper way, so in a safe environment, without judging, without overreacting, so based on trust. And this is, I would say, very important information for us in designing our program and activities. Regarding online safety education, they would say that they've been receiving lots of information from their parents and also in schools about protection, about security, and so on. But instead of like lectures, they would prefer to receive more practical information, more practical tips on how to use internet, social media in a safe and responsible way. So they seem to prefer a more hands-on approach instead of just being lectured about what is important, what can happen, what they should pay attention to. So these are actually, in my opinion, the most interesting insights we have received from the kids in the focus group discussion. So this qualitative research part. And now I will continue with showing you some of the facts or some of interesting data from the quantitative research as well. So we have conducted a survey with kids, and at the moment we have, until now, we have collected around 130 responses. So these are still the preliminary results, but they're quite valid, I would say. And the survey questionnaire was quite long, was quite extensive, so I really selected just those pieces of information that I thought it would be most interesting for you at this point. So regarding the smartphone use and possession, we have found out that like 3/4 of the respondents would use their smartphone daily or almost daily to go online. And it was not really surprising that more or less all the kids, all the respondents already own their own personal smartphone. So having a personal smartphone is widespread at that age. So the respondents were from 12 to 13 years of age. So we can see here that around 60% of the kids received their own personal smartphone even before turning 10, with another 26% of them receiving a personal smartphone at the age of 10, so quite early, I would say. Here you can see the information on how much time during an average day they would spend online. And here we have the information for the regular day, so it's during the week, and then during weekends. And what we can see here is that, in line with expectations, of course, that the frequency, the time spent online increases during weekends. So there is even more than 40% of respondents who reported to spend more than 4 hours per day online during weekends, which is quite a high number. Regarding the social media use, here we can see the most websites which kids in Slovenia most often use. So YouTube is on the first place, and is then followed by Snapchat, TikTok, Spotify, and Instagram. And on the right hand side you can see the information on who opened the account. So was it a child himself? So was it opened by parents, or did they do, the parents and the kid, did they do it together? And we can see that in all the cases, so the kids opened the account on their own, so themselves. Also, we wanted to know about kids having unpleasant experiences online. That's why we asked them whether in the past year, if anything has ever happened to them online that bothered or upset them in some way. And here we can see that 15% of respondents reported this has happened in the past year, with additional 9% who preferred not to respond. So we may assume that this percentage of kids having some kind of unpleasant experiences online to be around 20 to 25% in total. But I must say that not everyone understood this question in the correct way, because some of them did report, after they had to explain what they had in mind, they reported some kind of experiences related to gaming. They lost games against their friends, and they considered that to be unpleasant. So this is not actually related to violence, cyberbullying, or other unpleasant acts that we had in mind. So that's why this figure, this number is just an estimation. We also checked what they're allowed to do online, so whether their parents allow them to use a web or phone camera, to use social networking sites, play games, and so on. And just to explain, this data on the right-hand side, AA means allowed anytime, AP means allowed with permission, and NA means not allowed. And what we can see here, that the majority of the kids are always allowed to use to watch video clips, to use social networking sites, also to use a web or phone camera. But their parents seem to be more careful with sharing photos and videos. So children are not allowed to do this, or they are allowed to do it with permission only. So it seems that parents realize the dangers related to sharing of videos and photos to a greater extent than they realize the potential dangers with other activities. We were also interested into whether parents use any kind of restrictions or control measures to supervise and to control what the child is doing online. Here you can see the percentages, and on the right-hand side, highlighted in red, is the information whether a child obeys the rule or sticks to that. So what is interesting from my perspective is that only 1/2 of parents is using different kind of rules about how long or when a child is allowed to go online. So it's just, this is what kids have reported. So according to them, only 1/2 of the parents is using any kind of rules or restrictions about the time and space when the child is allowed to go online. And the last slide, we also checked or asked whether or how often parents are checking on a child after using the internet or social media. And here we can see the results. So, like half of the kids, of the surveyed kids, would say parents would sometimes check on them afterwards, and with additional 10% saying that their parents would often or very often check on them afterwards. But what is interesting is that the majority, in the majority of families, they have a kind of agreement on that. So they have established an agreement, the parent and the kid, about checking a child after using the internet, or they would ask for permission every time they want to do it. And related to that, we were also interested in how a child feels while their parents are checking on him afterwards. And surprisingly, they would associate this kind of acts with being cared for. So they mostly do not associate that with any kind of unpleasant emotions. So 25% would say they would feel embarrassed, but otherwise, yeah, they would feel like protected, important, cared, or nothing special in particular. So, this is everything I wanted to share with you regarding the results, the preliminary findings from the field research in Slovenia. And now I would like to ask Patricia to say a few words about the preliminary results from the Italian field research. So Patricia, please go ahead. You can go over there.
Well, yes, the same. Okay, thank you very much, Marco.
I think, Patricia, if you let me, it would be better if you sit in front of the camera just in case, or it doesn't make any difference. Oh, okay, sorry, good.
We, as you understood, as we tried to say, the field research is in process. What is very interesting is that the findings of the Slovenian field research, as far as focus groups are concerned, with kids, is very similar to the findings we had in Italy. And this is already a finding, the similarities of issues and aspects. So I will go to highlight a few aspects about parents and teachers to complement what Marco said already. I just would like to make a comment on what we receive as a feedback from pre-adolescents, complementing what Marco said, that a key aspect is to have an environment which is not judgmental. And I go back to the origins of this project. So the opposite of feeling judged or blamed or punished for kids is to feel that they can learn. So if there is a mistake, if something happens, they can learn from the mistake. So what we would like to have is families and schools understanding how important it is to stress the potential for learning from the mistakes and problems that they have. And this is crucial also because the real protection from whatever can happen online and in life is to have the possibility to relate, to refer to an adult through dialogue, through openness about those problems. And this is one of the key aspects of our project, of what we want to focus on. So we, with parents, we understood that there is a need to focus on decision taking. First of all, because the pre-adolescence is an age crucial for some choices that families make, because it is the age in which, for the first time, kids receive a personal smartphone. So they really need to have information on which they can base their decision whether to handle a smartphone, a personal smartphone or not. But also decision taking is very important because kids learn from the way in which decisions are taken in the families or at school. So this is an aspect we need to work about. For many parents, the well-being of the kids is not just expressed with open and direct communication, but observation of how they are, how they behave, it is very important. And that goes to the issue of working on communication, addressing the issue of communication also in our educational program, and also the importance of non-verbal communication. Another aspect which was stressed by the parents in the focus groups was the fear of addiction caused by the use of smartphones. And they just, most of them just understood from the behavior of their kids, besides the scientific studies, opinions, and theories about that, that this is an aspect that worries them very much. This is linked to the need of putting limits on the use of the devices, limits related to time, so how much time they can use it, and parental controls on the places that they can visit. And the last topic I would like to address is the issue of understanding that individual choices are linked to collective choices. And we see in Italy a new movement called Waiting for the Smartphone. So many schools are starting to say, if you want your children to be enrolled in our schools, we have an agreement, we have an alliance, and says that we are not going to have kids that have a smartphone. So this is very interesting for us, for our project, and this is very new. As for teachers, we had, a limited amount of teachers we interviewed with focus groups. As I said, we are still in the process. They also stressed the importance of communication and to address this topic in the classroom, especially the importance of telling kids that what they write and what they put in their social media is not linked to the context, and whatever is possible through the communication in presence, so all the verbal, non-verbal and paraverbal communication. But very often they understand that kids don't realize that they're making a mistake. So it is important that we don't give for granted, and teachers don't give for granted what they think is kind of common sense. For kids, it's not like that. And also, for many teachers, it's clear that they should try to understand kids from their side, so to take the point of view of the students. That was very, very interesting to see. The last point, the last aspect, which is interesting, is that for some teachers, they can see a big difference with the kids they taught to some 5 years ago or in the previous time. And they can see a difference in their academic performance if they have a smartphone or if they have access to social media. And this is a kind of confirmation of a research that in Italy is taking place in a university that we addressed in the desk research we did within this work package. So I believe that as main key points we can go ahead, and thank you very much.
Thank you.
I would now like to invite Lucy to tell us more about the preliminary findings and the insights from the field research conducted in the Czech Republic.
Hello everyone, once again. I would like to introduce truly preliminary output from our focus groups that we conducted in several teams, several groups in one school in Czech Republic, in our village where we live. I have personal connections to this school, so I really wanted to find out what's happening in the school, what the teachers think, what the children are, and I also wanted to include somehow the parents, because by chance I also lead the parent association in that school, so my point of view was complex. I wanted to see what each of these target groups will tell me during the focus groups. So we conducted 3 interesting groups with children that I consider like an eye-opener for me, and those focus groups were fantastic because children were open, children were honest, and they were much smarter and brighter than I expected. So our conversation was very enlightening, and I enjoyed focus group, making the focus group, leading it, facilitating it very much. I'm not sure if this is a good or a bad thing, but we had 3 different age groups. It was easier for the school to give me entire class or the selected children from one class of the age of 11. Those were the 5th graders. Then we had another class of the 6th graders, the age of 12, and then the 13 age old. So I could even observe the difference between the 3 age groups. They are just 1 year apart, and we could see big differences between how they perceive things and situations that we asked them. So these were the 3 groups of children. Then we conducted one group with their teachers, which was a very, very different focus group, and I will tell you why. And then we conducted a conversation with teachers, with parents, excuse me, and this was a hard thing to do, and I will also explain why. My note about the timing that you can see on the slide is related to a special time, because currently in our school was a special issue coming. So I think all of these people who know about the issue, who knew about the issue, were a little bit excited in a bad or good way. So everybody was really curious and into the topic. There were a lot of gossips in the village, and stuff that happens when such a thing appears. So I think our focus groups were led in a moment where everybody knew something about the cyberbullying or intended cyberbullying or thought of, even though it was not a real cyberbullying. I'm not going to tell about the case, just the situation was truly special for us. And I want to tell you about the outputs that we found out, and that are the probably most interesting things that came from all of the 3 target groups. We found out that the most important thing our 11, 12 and 30 years old children have to deal with is harassment. And this harassment is verbal, in an anonymous mode in their chatting or communication WhatsApp groups. That was something everybody has at least some bad experience with from the past, and this is also a significant concern across all groups. Why? Because WhatsApp groups cannot be set up by school, and school has basically and practically no power over these WhatsApp conversation groups the children have. But children need them, and there are several chatting groups within each classroom, and children are involved in 1 or 2 or more of them. And of course, gossips and bad words happen in this conversation. So this is one group of problems the children have to face, and they have to learn how to deal with them. The problem in our village that I mentioned before was related to a case where it was not a cyberbullying, but the involved parents felt very much offended by the situation, and they thought, and maybe they wished for it to be a cyberbullying case so that they can really find some, satisfaction in solving it. But actually, the case was only about children being bullied online. So it turned out to be not a real cyberbullying case, but something all three groups can learn from because it affected everyone. This harassment appeared to be like the most important thing in our school, and there are no other cases reported or have been reported through the last 5 years that could be of any more significant value or power. Then children have to face the privacy issues, and this is what all of them have some experience with. I didn't mention that even 11-year-old children have cell phones, smartphones, all of them. In all three focus groups, which were over 30 children, there was not one child that wouldn't have mobile phone already in the age of 11. So all of our children are exposed to this, even though legally they shouldn't be, because this is not the age when they should have mobile phone and be exposed to the violence they cannot cope with. So the privacy of all of them has been somehow violated recently, and it is mostly by them being involved in online gaming. And again, all of them play online games, and this is how they spend most of their online time, playing online games and getting in touch with strange people playing with them mutually the online game. There are 3 online games, and they were very happy to tell me more about them, even though I didn't understand much. It was Roblox, it was that square thing, no, Minecraft, and the last one was, I haven't even heard about, which was Star something. You see, I can't even remember what was that game, but there are basically 3 main games, and children are happy to tell me, yes, I'm playing this, and I'm talking to that one and that one. And that was the place where these privacy violations could happen, or harassment could happen, because they are not afraid to get in touch with a stranger, but many times it happens that stranger wants to know more about the child. They start asking personal stuff, and it was very, very interesting that even 11-year-old children knew already what to do and how to behave when someone starts to be suspiciously curious about the child. This is what I didn't expect, and then when I had a focus group with the teachers, I told them that yes, this is happening, and children know, they really do know what to do. They can cope, they can decide, because they have several options, and they can decide. And they
school communities and kids. The idea since the beginning was to have a group who could work together and learn from each other. I want to take some from the presentation of my colleagues because they were saying that from the focus groups and the survey, kids want to be listened. And this is actually was also in mind of the project since the beginning. So we wanted to create a space where to work together and listen each other and also learn from each other. This group is a very heterogeneous group because there are kids from age 11 and 12, but also the adults who are working together in a collaborative way with the kids are experts from media literacy, but at the same time there are also teachers, educators, researchers, so it's a very complex and heterogeneous group. You can see here some of the pictures from some of the groups we have been working with. The collaborative editorial board is now at its third edition. We started 1 year ago, and we started having in mind a really draft idea of what to do together, and maybe it's here, yes. And we started thinking that we wanted to create together some learning activities in which kids could give could express their needs and also could give their contribution to the learning activities. So putting together the ideas from those working in the media literacy, listening the teachers and educators' needs within the school, but especially the kids. And we started with and we are here. It's almost at the end, but we will continue the activities. So we started with a rough idea of what we wanted to talk about with kids. And then since the first and the second meeting, we actually gathered from kids and teachers and also the experts what were the main topic, the main needs, the main activities that they wanted to do about social media. I think it's important to say that kids were invited to participate to these activities, which is it's an afternoon, during the afternoon, so after school, it's about 2 hours, and we stayed together for almost 15 meetings, so roughly 30 hours together. They were invited since the beginning from the teachers, and we are now at the third edition with the third group of kids, and those who